Hey guys, I am once again on the test server and I've been really heavily testing the artifacts in the game. Specifically, I've been testing the DPS artifacts. And the title of this video is not clickbait. I genuinely believe the artifact we're going to go over in this video is quite arguably the best artifact in the game. There are some caveats to that reasoning, but I do think that they qualify it well enough. Just to jump straight to the point, the artifact that I would say is the best in the game, no, it is not Soul Reaper, unfortunately. I would argue that Ancestral Teachings is the best artifact in the game. You may think, well, that's stupid, it's an epic artifact. It has horrible base stats, it offers attack bonus, yet if you have a level 25, because this is a level 25 Ancestral Teachings, if you compare it to some other level 25 artifact, you're leaving 1237 flat attack on the table. How is 16% going to overcome that? Well, we're going to go over that in this video. I'm going to explain all of my reasoning and I'll show you some test results, and I'll also show you a update to my DPS calculator on my website, which is making all this massively easier, and I'll be releasing the update to it fairly soon. So my testing over the last few days have been really around each of the classes. I've tested fighter artifacts, mage artifacts, and marksman artifacts. I've tested each of them in their relative content. So all of them I've tested in Nightmare 3 and Nightmare 4 of the guild boss. And for the marksman, I've tested in Gear Raid 3, stages 18, 19, and 21 for the higher resistance. And for the mages, I did 18 and 19. I didn't go further because the trend was already set with 19. And for the fighters, there's not really a fighter raid more than artifact material raid, so I chose stage 18 of artifact material raid. So that's what I've been testing. The way I've conducted these tests is by picking a hero for the class type. For marksman, I chose Razak. For mages, I chose Iona. And for fighters, I chose Abomination. This was largely down to giving me the scope to test more artifacts with the same stats. I tested with 50% or thereabouts crit rate so that I could get a non-crit and a crit to compare. And I tested the artifacts at level 1 against level 25. I will be doing more videos very, very soon covering each of the classes in particular. But I wanted to make this video giving you a quick kind of heads up. I think one of the most important points for most players, especially where we are right now in global, Ancestral Teachings, in my opinion, is the best artifact for where we are right now. If you're a whale, if you're spending a lot of money, if you're throwing stamina into the game and you do have level 25 artifacts, then there are better artifacts for most content. Not all content, but most content. The mythic artifacts at level 25 will be an Ancestral Teachings at level 25. So a lot of preface to that, but I appreciate your patience. The reasons for Ancestral Teachings being so good, there are perhaps 3 or 4 reasons. I think 4 reasons. So the first one is it's incredibly easy to come by, right? You don't have to farm so hard to get 6 Nether Messengers. You'll get 6 Ancestral Teachings super easy. So it's very accessible, right? The first point is accessibility. The second point is try getting a Nether Messenger to level 25. That is an insane amount of mithril. You're going to have to be farming weeks of arena reset. You're going to have to be farming lots of artifact material rate to get the mithril. So I'm comparing them level 25 to 25, and when I show you my tables in future videos for each class, you will see that Ancestral Teachings, although it's not the best when compared at level 25, it's actually holding its own, and in some cases it's performing very, very well. But in the actual real case scenario on the global server, you are not going to have level 25 of all of these myth artifacts to compare. Whereas on the global server, I actually made a level 25 Ancestral Teachings in one day. I just farmed some stamina into the artifact material raid and got 6 Ancestral Teachings super quick because they're only epics, and I made it level 25 super quick. You can stop at level 22 as well because the last 3 levels are very, very little gain. So those are the first 2 reasons. It's very accessible, you get loads of them, and it's very cheap to upgrade. So you can make this level 25 for almost no cost compared to how expensive it actually is to make a myth level 25. And to further bolster this point, I'm going to put a table up on screen. You'll see that from level 1 to level 25, an epic artifact will cost you 1256 mithril. A legendary will cost you 3140, and a myth will cost you 7850 mithril. That is a massive difference. That is like 6.4 times as much mithril to max a myth artifact versus an epic. So you could theoretically get out 6 heroes in Ancestral Teachings at max level at the cost of making a single myth artifact level 25. That's insane. That's a lot. But is it good enough to justify being the best artifact for where we are currently? Well, here comes the biggest point of all, and this goes back to 2 of my videos I've done this year. One of them is on attack versus crit damage, and the second one was the Maul and Razak testing. Since those videos, I've actually done some work and I've uncovered the actual damage formula in the game, so now I actually understand how the defense calculation works. And as previously believed and stated, attack is actually being reduced by defense before crit damage and damage bonus is being applied. That means that attack is a god stat. It is the most important stat. Obviously, yeah, DPS needs attack, but it's significantly more important than crit damage. Normally you would expect crit damage and attack to be roughly on parity. It is nowhere near the case in this game. So for that reason, yes, attack is just absolutely dominant. So then you might be thinking, okay, sure, attack is good, but why is it better then? Because we're losing 1237 flat attack for 16% attack gain. Well, very simply, it's because it's not 16% base attack gain. This 16% is not being multiplied on your base attack here. It is being multiplied on your total attack right here. And you might think, well, I don't believe you. That's not how it works. I disagree entirely. And that's fair enough. I don't blame you if you're hesitant, which is why I'm going to show you and prove it to you. And I'm going to prove it to you using my calculator and in-game tests to show you that this is actually 16% of your total attack, not your base attack. Okay, so let the testing begin. I think that's enough explanation of my reasonings behind this. Now I want to show you the cold hard numbers as to why Ancestral Teachings is so good. So we're going to go to gear, we're going to go to the stats, and we can see 4017 is the base attack, and the bonus attack is that minus these two numbers, or these two numbers together. So 10,673. So I'm going to move this out of the way, and this is my new and improved calculator. So we'll go over this probably in more detail in a second video. But for now, we'll focus on this. So 4017 is the base attack, and the bonus attack was 10,673. We'll just go over 100% crit rate. We'll just test the crit for now, and we have a total crit damage of 248%. So what are we attacking with? This Razak is dealing 100% AoE damage, so I'll leave the skill multiplier at the bottom at 100%. We can set him to piercing damage type. It doesn't matter for the guild boss. It is the same resistance. And my calculator is saying that on Nightmare 4, we should be dealing 12.2k crit damage, right? Bear in mind, this artifact will only apply once you have an ally adjacent to you, right? So we'll test it without the ally adjacent, and we're looking for a crit of 12.2k. So we'll go to Guild Boss. This is the test server again, just to confirm. Nightmare 4 right here. We'll take no one else in the party. Actually, we'll take Eloin just in case we don't get the crit. We have a 52% crit rate. And again, we're looking for a 12.2k crit just to prove the validity of the calculator. So, Razak goes down. He hits for 4.9k. Come on, let's get a crit out quick. And he crits for 12.2k, 12212. My calculator was off by a total of 6 damage. That can come from rounding errors, but I mean, that's pretty accurate, right? 12212 versus 12206. So it's off by 6, which I'm happy enough with. That's pretty accurate. I'm happy enough with that. That's basically bang on. We're off by a few damage points. So the whole purpose of this is we now want to test the Ancestral Teachings, right? The point was it's max attack. It's not flat attack. If it was flat attack, it would be 16% of the base attack. And if it's max attack, it's 16% of these two added together, right? So how are we going to test that? Well, my calculator, this Pantheon attack field here, Pantheon bonuses, if you don't know, in Watcher of Realms are added to your base attack, the same way normal gear bonuses are. If you have 60% bonus on an accessory piece, it will be of your base attack value. Pantheon bonuses are the same. So what we can do is we can just put 16% attack in here, and it's saying that we should be critting for 13.3k, right? And you'll see in this now, what we're going to do is we're going to deploy Razak as before, but we're going to put an Eloin next to him. And if you watch him, when I place Eloin, you'll see the marker appear above his head. There you go. So now he's hit for 6570, and we just need to wait for a crit now. He crit for 16293. 16293 is not 13.3k. So the calculator is wrong in this case. 16% attack is not creating the same result that we saw. So now my goal is going to be to make my calculator say 16293 or super close to that. And what I'm going to do is increase the bonus attack by 16% of the bonus plus the base attack. So here we have a nice little calculator app. So 4017 plus 10673. That is our total attack. And we're going to times this to work out what 16% attack is. That is 2350. So that is how much Ancestral Teachings should be granting us in bonus attack. And we're going to add this back onto this base attack here, the bonus attack rather. So 10,673, and we end up with 13,023. And that gives us, if you look at it again, 16,286 damage. And if we go back to the game and we look at the crit value, what was it? 16,293. So 16,293, and now we're at 16,286. Again, we're off by a few points. It could be a few things. It could just be a rounding error in how the mass is calculated for the resistance, but it's basically bang on. So as you can see, kind of a long-winded way of proving it, but Ancestral Teachings is max attack. It is 16% max attack. It is not base attack. So it is significantly better than it appears to be. So that's kind of what I wanted to get out, as those are the main points I wanted to cover. Ancestral Teachings is massively cheaper to upgrade, like 6.4 times cheaper to upgrade than a myth artifact. It is incredibly common, so it's very easy to get hold of a copy. It scales on your actual total attack, and attack is basically the most important stat for a DPS, miles over crit damage in terms of gear. But in terms of artifacts, even if you have something like the Sharpshooter's Crest giving you 30% AoE damage, this will win, but only because the number is significantly greater. If this was 16% damage versus 16% attack, the 16% attack would absolutely flatten it. So yeah, those are the three main reasons why I would say this is better. The fourth reason, the final reason I suggest the Ancestral Teachings, is that it is not a class exclusive artifact like Sharpshooter's Crest or any of the others. You can actually use Ancestral Teachings on any of your heroes, and genuinely the most important hero to put this on. And there is actually one hero where I can unequivocally say right now it is the best artifact in the game, and that hero is arguably the best hero in the game as well. It is, of course, the wonderful Dolores. Your Dolores should be using an Ancestral Teachings at level 25. The reason for this, again, is 16% of her max attack. And this Dolores is not in great gear, a broken set. This is the test server. We don't have very good gear here, unfortunately. And if we look at her stats, her max attack on her stats, it is nearly 12,000. So if we bust open the calculator again, 11,830 times 0.16, that is 1,800, nearly 1,900 attack. And what is the difference between her using this artifact and using the Orb of Euphoria, for example, at level 25? Well, the difference was 1,237. So in this case already, this is a gain of more than 700 attack. So there you have it. In my opinion, Ancestral Teachings is the best artifact for Dolores, and it is the most portable artifact, the easiest to upgrade, the easiest to use across heroes. And yeah, I think it's just a really, really good artifact. If you're super end game, you're building your DPS heroes, then yes, it's not going to be the absolute best artifact if you're comparing it to level 25 myth artifacts. But I promise you, making a Ancestral Teachings level 25 versus making a Never Messenger level 25 are very, very different things, and very hard to do without spending a massive amount of stamina. If, like me, on the global server, the majority of your heroes are in either unleveled yellow artifacts or in level 10 myth artifacts, level 25 Ancestral Teachings are going to make a huge, huge difference. That's kind of what I wanted to cover in this video. I am going to be making really detailed breakdowns on all of the DPS artifacts that I can in the coming days. I'm going to have a video on mages, fighters, and marksmen. I'm going to be breaking them down, and you'll see comparisons on each of those two Ancestral Teachings so you can see how they compare. My comparisons will be at level 1 and at level 25. That way you can see that although the Ancestral Teachings at level 25 are not in every case, but may not compete with, for example, a level 25 Never Messenger, if you're comparing a level 1 or a level 10 Never Messenger with a 25 Ancestral Teachings, which is actually pretty close in the cost, Ancestral Teachings will come out on top. So if you're still early game, if you're mid game and progressing, or if you're just not farmed loads of artifacts yet, I strongly recommend maxing a few Ancestral Teachings. And again, don't worry about maxing them after you've got to the final unlock. You don't need to take them to level 25. I think level 23 is where you get to the final star unlock, the final promotion. That's really what you want, is this bonus down here for the 16% attack. The final upgrades from 22 to 25 will only give you a small amount of attack. So either way, that's my recommendation. Build some Ancestral Teachings, and I apologize in advance for when they nerf the hell out of this. Anyway, thank you guys very much for watching. I look forward to seeing you soon. Have a great day. Take care, and bye-bye.